welcome to the news live on Channel I. I'm Sharon Mascarenas.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Charita Minipurarachi and here are today's headlines. The President takes part in the enthronement ceremony of the new Japanese Emperor. A special meeting between the Sri Lankan President and the former Japanese Prime Minister. Another objective of the government is to establish a national health insurance scheme, the Prime Minister says. Presidential candidate Sajith Premadasa emphasizes that the national security cannot be ensured without the rest of the world. A complaint submitted to the Election Commission over the election campaign of presidential candidate Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Minister Samaravira requests the acting IGP to investigate whether the inspections carried out in schools in Mathura is an act of sabotage.
And now for those and other stories in detail, starting off with local news. The enthronement ceremony of the Japanese Emperor Naruhito was held at the State Hall of the Imperial Palace in Tokyo today. The ceremony was held with the participation of state leaders and elites of more than 180 countries. President Maithripala Sirisena also participated in the ceremony. Distinguished guests including Crown Prince of Britain, Prince Charles, King of Belgium, Prince Philip, King of Sweden and the Emir of Qatar, more than 2,000 invitees were present on this occasion. The ceremony was officially commenced with the arrival of Emperor Naruhito and Empress Masako in their traditional royal attire to the State Hall of the Imperial Palace. Former Japanese Emperor Akihito abdicated his throne last May after reigning over 30 years. He became the first Japanese emperor to abdicate his throne since 1817. Then Crown Prince Naruhito was named as the 126th Emperor of Sri Lanka on the 1st of May. The official declaration of the enthronement of Emperor Naruhito and Empress Masako was made after the traditional ceremony held at the Imperial Palace. The new emperor organized a special luncheon for the state leaders after the enthronement ceremony. Meanwhile, a meeting between President Maithripala Sirisena and former Prime Minister of Japan Yasuo Fukuda was held in Tokyo today. The delegation led by former Japanese Prime Minister visited the President at the hotel he was residing and held several special meetings. Former Japanese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Kenichi Suganuma, was also present on this occasion. The former Japanese Prime Minister reminded regarding the strong and close bilateral ties between the nations and appreciated the efforts taken by President Maithripala Sirisena on this regard during his tenure. He pointed out that the work carried out by President Maithripala Sirisena on behalf of the country should be continued even after his retirement. The Japanese Prime Minister also praised the President for the swift measures taken by him to manage the situation occurred in the country in the aftermath of the Easter Sunday attack. The Sri Lankan President said that he will continue to commit in uplifting the cooperation between Sri Lanka and Japan even after his retirement. The President then extended his gratitude towards the Japanese government for the special assistance provided to him during his tenure.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says government's next objective would be to establish a national health insurance scheme. This move expected to be a massive step for the progress of the country's health sector. The Prime Minister made these remarks while addressing inauguration of the National Health Research Symposium 2019. The ceremony was held at the Waters Edge in Batharamulla under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The Prime Minister said he believes that the professionals in the relevant sector will make an active contribution towards the new findings and experiences throughout the health-related researches.
You need more research. Research is necessary. And this symposium, which I first attended in 2017, is helping to promote research in Sri Lanka. We should have more and more centers for research. In England or in India or anywhere else, a medical school which gives postgraduate has its own research facilities. Now this I feel is a big defect, and at least two of our faculties, Colombo and Peradeniya, the two oldest, must have research facilities in them. If the postgraduate awards are tied up to research, then you will see a qualitative difference coming up in research and build up also human resources for research. Now this is what we have to do. From the 2 billion that we are giving for research, the government will have to go up to about 5 billion. That is necessary. But to give 5 billion without changing the structure, I feel, will not get you the best results. It won't get you the value for money. Then you come to another important area, which also is the question of health services. We have a public sector and a private sector. And how do we make these health services available to all? So as a government, our next step has to be to build in a national health insurance scheme where everyone participates. You have to participate, and you have the national health insurance scheme, which will then enable you to get services. That itself will help the research function. More people come in, and they'll be coming in for these type of new diseases, because you could identify what you come in for.
Health research is a key area of research in today's world. It's a multi-billion-dollar process which helps to find better ways to treat and prevent disease. We have a wealth of information which we come across during the discharge of our duties daily, which has much research value. We have over 19,000 doctors in our health sector. They daily come across various situations and medical conditions. If their observations and inferences are systematically recorded and analyzed, these data could help to upgrade our medical knowledge and also to find ways of optimum utilization of our meager resources, benefiting the health sector in the long run.
Launching of the web-based bibliographic database related to major non-communicable diseases in Sri Lanka during the period of 2000 to 2018 was carried out under the patronage of the Prime Minister.
A special discussion was held today between the Election Commission and representatives of several political parties regarding the presidential election. The meeting was held at the Election Commission premises in Rajagiriya. Representatives of the political parties of the presidential candidates participated in the meeting. After the meeting with the chairman of the Election Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, the party representatives made these remarks to the media. Minister Ajit P. Pereira said that the focus of the meeting was directed on how to conduct the election in a fair manner. He also said that the issue concerning to hate speech was also raised during the meeting. He added that both state and private media have made election violations and requested the Commission to take necessary action against such acts. The minister said that the private media should also be penalized, similar to state media, for violating election regulations using public frequencies. He said that it is not fair to penalize only state media for the violations and not taking necessary actions against private media for the same. National organizer of Podujana Peramuna, Basil Rajapaksa, said that they respect and value independent commissions as well as media freedom. He said that as a party, they request the commission to carry out discussions with the media organizations and then impose restrictions even on state media through a legal proceeding. They said that the total of polling centers and vote lines should be increased. Janata Vimukti Peramuna parliamentarian Bimal Ratnayaka said that a discussion was held regarding the postal votes. He said that discussions were held regarding more than 600,000 registered postal voters and 58,000 rejected postal voters. He said that another discussion was held on how presidential candidates who have extended their support for other presidential candidates during the meeting, and those candidates were prohibited from extending their support in such a manner.
Presidential candidate Minister Sajith Premadasa says that the national security of the country cannot be ensured without the rest of the world. He said that steps will be taken to ensure national security of the country by building direct and transparent diplomatic relations with the other countries. He made these remarks while addressing a public rally held in Pannala public ground today under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
රටම එකට එක්වනාද දිනයේ සිව්සිය දහසින් හදවත් බැඳුනා එක්ව ඉදිරියට යන මඟ හැදුනා එක්ව ඉදිරියට යන මඟ හැදුනා
Presidential candidate Minister Sajid Premadasa said the main steps have been taken to ensure the national security of the country. He said that the most suitable person has been given the responsibility of national security. He said that he will further strengthen the defence forces in the country. The minister said that the intelligence agencies will be depoliticized and will be allowed to function in its fullest capacity and safeguard the country. He said that the strong diplomatic relations should be established in order to strengthen the intelligence agencies in the country. The minister said that they expect to strengthen the counter-terrorism mechanisms to defeat global terrorism with strong diplomatic relations.
අපේ රටේ ජාතික ආරක්ෂාව ශක්තිමත් කිරීම වෙනුවෙන් අපිට අවශ්‍යයි ශක්ති සම්පන්න විදේශ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය. ලෝකේ තරහ කරගෙන අපිට රටේ ජාතික ආරක්ෂාව තහවුරු කරන්නට බෑ. අපිට වැදගත් වන අපිට වටිනා රටවල් සමග අපි ඍජු ශක්තිමත් විනිවිද භාවයෙන් යුක්ත වූ සමදතා අපි ගොඩනගනවා. ඒ සමදතා තුලින් නූතන ත්‍රස්තවාදය විනාශ කිරීම උදෙසා අපිට අවශ්‍ය බුද්ධිමය තොරතුරු සහ වෙනත් කරුණු කාරණා පිළිබඳව ජාත්‍යන්තර වශයෙන් අපි හොඳ සමදතා තුලින් අපේ ප්‍රතිත්‍රස්ත ක්‍රියාදාමය ත්‍රස්තවාදය වැළැක්වීමේ ක්‍රියාදාමය ශක්තිමත් කරන්නට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. මේ රටේ අන්තවාදී ත්‍රස්තවාදය අපි මුළුමනින්ම විනාශ කරනවායි කියන එක මේ අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රකාශ කරන අතර අපේ රටේ අනාගතය විනාශ කරන කුඩු වෙලුන්දුන්ටත් අනිවාර්යෙන්ම අවසන් ඉරණම අපි අත්පත් කර දෙනවායි කියන එකත් මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියන්න කැමතියි. අපි පුළුවන් තරම් ජනතාවට
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the government provided relief for the general public. He said that the government has increased salaries of the public sector twice during its period. He said that the health and education sectors were developed. He said that the government has managed to maintain the stability of the country through its efforts. Meanwhile, Minister Sajid Premadasa presided the main conference of Democratic Leftist Movement and the chief guest. The conference was held under the theme Samaj Sadharanathe Udesa Ratu Balavege, Ratu Jana Bale at the Public Library in Colombo.
Presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Gotabaya Rajapaksa says that necessary environment will be created for the public sector employees to carry out their respective duties independently without any political interference under his administration. He made these remarks while addressing a public rally in Badagama today. Presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that they will manage to bring in a rapid development by giving the rightful place for the public sector employees. He said that most of the public sector employees were inconvenienced by forcing them to appear before the FCID. Therefore, he added that the public sector employees are hesitant to take necessary decisions for their institutions. He said that the public sector employees will not be politically interference under his administration. He also said that he will create a government that is responsible towards the nation. Meanwhile, another rally of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was held in Kaduwela this evening. Meanwhile, the President's office says that the security forces have emphasized that an act of emergency or a terrorist threat has not surfaced in the country. Issuing a special media communique, President's office has requested not to build unnecessary fear over the false and distorted information shared by certain parties on this regard. The relevant special media communique has been issued with the signature of the Secretary to the President, Uday R. Senimiratna. A special circular was issued on April 23rd, pointing out the security of the state institutions and places with national importance after the Easter Sunday attacks. The letter points out that reminders and other guidance were issued to the relevant authorities on timely basis on this regard. The Secretary to the President said that they have received letters creating an unnecessary unnecessary fear among the public, citing emergency or a terrorist threat by distorting the circulars issued regarding security. The letter has further pointed out that the security forces have taken steps to guarantee the national security. Therefore, the Secretary to the President has requested the public not to be deceived from such false information.
Minister Mangala Samaravira has requested the acting IGP to investigate whether the inspections carried out in several schools in Mathur district is an act of sabotage. He has made this request by directing a letter to the acting IGP. According to a letter issued by the Assistant Director of Education for National Schools and School Affairs in Southern Province, the security of the schools should be ensured by conducting parent-teacher meetings from tomorrow. Minister Mangala Samaravira said that the Assistant Director of Education issued the letter based on common circular issued by the President's Secretary. He said that the President's Secretary Seneviratne has issued 3 such circulars reminding the importance of being vigilant on the security concerns. However, he said that the letter has not pointed out regarding any emergency situation. He said that he communicated to President's Secretary, Chief of CID, Chief of Intelligence, Governor of Southern Province, Minister of Education and the Secretary to the Minister of Education on this regard. They affirmed that such situation has not risen. Therefore, the minister said that a suspicion has surfaced whether this act was carried out intentionally based on security purposes or an act of sabotage targeting the presidential election.
Presidential candidate of the National People's Movement, Mahesh Senanayake, says that the people are continuing to gather around him. He made these remarks to the media after an awareness program organized for the party members in Balangoda today. The ceremony was held in Peradeniya. Many party members and supporters were present on this occasion. Presidential candidate Anurukumara Dissanayake said that a plan to manage Presidential candidate of the National People's Movement, Mahesh Senanayake, said that the People's Movement will change the country for the betterment. He said that only his movement reiterating on the importance of an independent, unbiased president. He said that they create awareness on matters which can be achieved practically. He requested the people to cast vote intelligently and appoint an unbiased president in the coming election. Presidential candidate Mahesh Senanayake was hospitalized due to a sudden illness after the awareness program organized for party members. He was admitted to the Balangoda Base Hospital and left the hospital after being treated. Presidential candidate Anurukumara Dissanayake says that the National People's Power has presented an agricultural policy with a clear vision to build the nation. He made these remarks at unveiling of this agricultural policy. The ceremony was held in Peradeniya. Many party members and supporters were present on this occasion. Presidential candidate Anurukumara Dissanayake said that a plan to manage agriculture has been introduced through the movement. He said that in their belief they can create a self-sustaining country in the near future. He said that they have presented a policy with a clear vision to build the nation. He said that they have a team who can properly implement the agricultural policy. He requested the public to think of the future of the next generation and not allow the country to be further destroyed.
තනි පුද්ගලයන්ගේ ඉන්ද්‍රජාලික ක්‍රියාපස්සේ යන්න එපා. දැන් දශක ගණනාවක් අපේ රටේ තනි මිනිහෙක් මේ රට ගොඩදායි කියලා බලාගෙන යනවා. නේද? එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා මේ කුස්කාරම ප්‍රතිපත්තිය නිසි පරිදි ඉටු කිරීම සඳහා සමත් වෙන ඉතාමත් ප්‍රමුඛ සාහමික කණ්ඩායමක් අපි ගාව ඉන්නවා. ඒ නිසා රටක් ගොඩනගන්නේ සාහමික ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වයක්. අන්නේ සාහමික ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වයේ පංගු කරුම් බවට පත් වෙලා ඉන්නේ. ඒ නිසා අපි විශ්වාස කරන මේ ගොඩනගන්න පුළුවන්. මම හිතන්නේ තව දුරටත් අපේ රට මේ විනාශයට යන්න දෙන්න එපා. මේ වෙලාවේ හෘද සාක්ෂියක් තියෙන රට දරුවන් ගැන අනාගතය ගැන හැඟීමක් තියෙන හැම කෙනාගේම අපි ඉල්ලා හිටින මේක වෙනස් කරන්න දෙයක් තියෙනවා.
A special public meeting of the National People's Power Movement was held in Badula today. It was held under the patronage of presidential candidate Anurukumara Dissanayake. Members and supporters of the movement were present on this occasion. Presidential candidate of the National People's Movement, Maise Nanaika, says that the people are continue to gather around him. The U.S. District Court of California dismissed a case against former Defense Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa filed by Ahimsa Wickrematunge over the killing of her father, journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge. She has decided to appeal against the decision to dismiss the case. The case was filed under the charges of extrajudicial killing and crimes against humanity. The former Defense Secretary had filed a motion citing that the U.S. District Court of California has no jurisdiction to hear the case. Therefore, he had requested to dismiss the case without a hearing. Accordingly, the court had dismissed the case, citing foreign official immunity.
Meanwhile, a suspect with a stash of gold biscuits and jewellery worth 39 million rupees was taken into custody in Kattunayake. According to custom officers, the stash was consisted of 40 gold biscuits and 1 kilogram of gold jewellery. An employee of the duty-free shopping complex at Kattunayake International Airport was taken into custody in this connection. Necessary investigations have been initiated regarding the incident.
Sri Lanka Freedom Democratic Front handed over a complaint to the Election Commission today. The complaint was made requesting to prevent the use of assets belonging to the opposition leader's office for the election propaganda campaign of the presidential candidate Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Secretary to the Sri Lanka Freedom Party Democratic Front, Attorney-at-Law Rajika Kudithuaku, handed over the complaint to the Election Commission. The complaint has further requested to issue a suitable order to prevent the use of the public assets in order to conduct a fair election.
And the Met Department says that showers or thunder showers will occur in Western and Sabaragamu provinces and in Galle, Matru, Jaffna, Mana and Puttalam districts. Showers or thunder showers will also occur elsewhere after 1 p.m. The department has requested general public to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. The sluice gates of Rajangane, Angamu, Tapova, Kukuleganga and Daduroy reservoirs are remained open. Therefore, slight flooding has occurred in the low-lying areas due to the escalating water level of the Athanagalu Oya. According to reports, several main roads and surroundings of Athanagala and Ugadapala have been inundated. National Building Research Organization has said that landslide warnings issued for Ratnapura, Kegol, Kaludra and Badula districts are still valid. According to reports, water filling of main reservoirs of Omawe multipurpose project, Pohulpola and Dairaba reservoirs has been successfully completed. 3 sluice gates of Pohulpola and Dairaba reservoirs have been opened at present. The water of the reservoirs will be channeled to Mahabali River via Omawe. Reports have further indicated that a heavy rainfall is prevailing in the surrounding areas of the reservoirs.
And to bring in the trading details, the All Share Price Index closed at 5,880.40 points, increased by 16.41 points, and the S&P SL 20 Index closed at 2,926.77 points, also increased by 14.11 points at the end of the trading in the Colombo Stock Exchange today. Turnover was over 968 million rupees. And a quick check on the weather before we go. The Met Department says that showers or thunder showers will occur in the western Sabaragamu provinces and in the Galle, Mathura, Jaffna and Manna and Puttalam districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur elsewhere after 1 p.m. Fairly heavy falls, about 75 millimeters, can be expected at some places in western Sabaragamu and Uva provinces and in the Puttalam district. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in eastern Uva and north central provinces during the morning. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers.
And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Do it tomorrow at the very same time. Good night.